I had a comment from Anita yesterday regarding this squash plant because we've still not made his mind up what we're doing with it. And she made a suggestion of how to make the fruits grow a little bit quicker. And that was by trimming back excess leaves, especially leaves that don't look in very good condition, and we've got quite a few of those. But also maybe vines that are just started on the way, because they're drawing energy from that plant. And they're not going to amount to anything at this time of year anyway, even if they do develop flowers and start to grow fruit. So the idea behind Anita's suggestion was to just cut as much back as we could to allow these fruits to grow bigger and quicker. Although there is one thing that's worth knowing about squash plants and other plants of the same family. You're not supposed to cut away the leaves of your squash plants, not to a massive extent, because unfortunately butternut squash is quite susceptible to sun scald, which is why the plant produces such big leaves. It basically acts as a sunscreen for that fruit. But that doesn't mean we can't cut back quite a lot of those leaves and just leave a little bit or a shelter above each fruit, and then maybe trim that vine back. It's growing too long as it is anyway, and there's no point in us letting it grow another 6 feet and not getting any more fruit. So I think we'll try that experiment that Anita suggested. We'll cut back as many leaves as we can. We'll try and leave a little covering above the fruits and get rid of any vines that just started on the journey. And we'll probably do the same thing with that Jack-Be Little pumpkin plant as well, because we're having the same problem with that one. Because of the way the year's been, things have grown so slow, we're now very quickly running out of time for these plants to produce any fruit of any size, never mind ripen. So let's cut this plant back and we'll monitor that over the next couple of weeks and see if it makes any difference at all. Well, I think the first thing I need to do is clear some things off this bench. We've definitely got leaves that can be got rid of all over this plant, and we'll try and save a few fruits while cutting back on the length, because now it's grown even farther. So we'll get these peppers put outside. I'm sure they'll appreciate a bit of cool air because it has been quite hot this afternoon. At least now we can see better what we're going to be doing. So first thing I noticed on this plant is we've got quite a big fruit growing there, and then this vine has carried on growing even farther, and it's extended right to the end of this bench. But I noticed this morning there's another fruit trying to grow right at the very end, and that's got no chance of reaching maturity at this time of year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some of these leaves away, and then just there take that flower off, and just there where it started to grow from, I'm going to take that away so that vine's gone. But we have still got a leaf above there to shield it from the sun. Then just there you can see there's another vine, and this one has got 2 fruits growing on it. But if we let it, it'll try and get farther. I'll take the flowers off these. I'm not sure if there's something wrong with these, because they don't look very healthy on end. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that off there. So we're losing one of those fruits, but we're keeping another, and it's got a nice little umbrella above it as well. Then we can work on this area, and all around here we've got leaves that don't look very good at all, so we might as well get rid of them all. And the more you cut away, the more you realise how many leaves there is that are basically serving no purpose. So for now I'll do what I usually do and chuck them on the floor. And as I'm cutting that, I've realised that's another vine with a tiny little fruit trying to grow. So again, we'll trace that back. I'll remove these leaves so we can see what we're doing. I can see there's a few leaves here that are definitely no good. So it looks like we've got a bit of a clean up to do. But if it helps, all the better. But where this vine's growing, with that tiny little fruit on end, we don't want that. So we're going to cut that back. So I've opened that up a bit. So now we can see a bit better. And that's where that vine's going. Let's get rid of that leaf. It's like spaghetti junction in here. There's that many vines shooting off in different directions. But we can see it's come from this main stem. Again, I'll get rid of those. Just for the sake of seeing what we're doing. And that's where that vine started, right there, off at main stem. So we'll cut that off, and that's another big piece of that gone. And then there's no fruit on this area at all, so we might as well get rid of all these leaves. They're also not in very good condition. So I'll just keep cutting them away. That is also an extra stem. It's got nothing on it except a flower. And again, it's going right back to that main stem of that plant. So tracing that back right to there, we'll get rid of that. Now I can actually see bench again. Now we've opened it up, we can see there's quite a few leaves that are completely dead. They're no good to nobody. No fruit growing beneath. So get rid of all these leaves. We'll try and save 3. So where it is there, there's one growing against that window. So I'm going to cut it off just after that section. We don't want this to get any bigger than it is. If I cut it just there, that's that vine gone, and now it can't grow anymore. It's also letting a little bit more light into the greenhouse. And once again, where that fruit is at that window, we've also got a leaf above it, which is going to help protect it, and another little one just there. And I think that's pretty much all we can do with this plant, but we have massively cut it back compared to what it were. There's a lot less energy now going into growing leaves, and hopefully we might get a couple that are a decent size. They don't have to be massive, as long as we get a little bit of something out of the 4 that we've left on this plant. So having done that, I've now got a lot of cleaning up to do because there's leaves everywhere. But I think it's worth a try. If we don't do anything, we're not going to get anything anyway. But even this late in the year, if you get a comment that seems feasible and to some extent may work, you've got to try it. And you've got nothing to lose by trying. So we'll see how that gets on. Because I've cut it back so much, what I'm going to do now is mix up some feed, and I'll give it a mix of tomato food and liquid seaweed, and we'll boost the nutrients in those roots at the same time, and we'll see how it gets on. So thank you for that suggestion, Anita. It's got to be worth a try, and that's exactly what we do in this channel. No matter how bad things look or how poorly something's growing, we've always got the option of trying something different. I'll pop down to that other greenhouse and I'll probably do the same thing with that Jackby Little miniature pumpkin plant. And over the weekend, I think I might be emptying another tub of Sarpo Myra potatoes, and I think I've got a Savoy cabbage that's ready for harvest. So if you want to see that video, then please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I'll see you next time. Take care.